Joyful blessings. This is Kaylin Castell, and we are coming up on the most amazing equinox I have ever seen. And I'm seeing it as a powerful portal into new possibilities. And there are so many things that happen around every equinox. Every equinox is a powerful portal, but this one is supercharged. It is more amazing than any that I've ever seen. So, including we're going to have an eclipse cauldron. We have Venus and Mercury retrogrades. We have zero Aries activations, four planets doing, but in addition to the sun, doing three activations each. We have an extremely out of bounds last quarter moon that's transmitting directly from galactic center, and that's going to add to the power of this equinox time. So I'm just over the moon excited about how this is coming together and what it may mean for us. So what we see here is the play of light and shadow at the equinox at Stonehenge, and there were many, many sites. There are many sites that are in my original video on the extraordinary power of the March equinox. That is, will be in the show notes if you want to watch that. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. Even if you have seen it, you might want to go back to get some more details that I won't be covering here that are covered in that video that is for any March equinox. And so we're going to be looking at how the sun is a doorway and how ancient cultures knew this was a powerful time. And that's why they built standing stone circles and pyramids and petroglyph sites and chambered cairns to track this absolutely amazing time. We're going to look at the equinox cracks. We'll just do a brief review that's in the original video. And then we'll also look at galactic center overhead and other aspects of high magic of the 2025 March equinox. So I thought I'd start with the equinox cracks is is something that they've been studying now for about 75 years, and they realize that it is because of how the sun and the earth are in relationship at the equinox that it creates these cracks, and the light pours down onto the earth, and you can see that in these images here. And in the book, The Equinox and Solstice Ceremonies of the Golden Dawn by Pat and Chris Zaleski, they say that the equinoxes are a time to establish new contacts with other realms and dimensions. And that is why equinox ceremonies have been so important through to the ancient people and to people that understand that in more current times. In the Upanishads, it says that the sun is described as the door of the world, an entrance for the knowing. And at the equinox, we have an entrance into the knowing that is unlike anything we've ever experienced before. And something that happens 24 hours before and after the exact equinox, so you don't have to be at the exact equinox moment, is that the sun is over the equator. It's rising due east and setting due west. And that creates a reduction in the Earth's magnetic field. I'll share a little bit more about that in a moment. But it's in essence opening the doorway into other realms and dimensions that ancient people knew about and engaged ceremonially. So this is what's happening. The sun, it has its solar wind, its light energy. It comes towards the Earth. You can see here's the magnetosphere, the shielding around the Earth. It's also showing in this, here's the Earth, the little Earth here with the sun's rays coming at it. And so it's basically a magnetic force field, and it creates a space bubble around the Earth known as the magnetosphere, and tens of thousands of miles wide, shielding and protecting the Earth from solar storms. Otherwise, we could not have life as we know it on, on Earth at this time. So these openings or cracks in the field occur more often at the March equinox as the solar wind opens cracks in the magnetosphere, referred to as equinox cracks, that may be as small as the size of California or as big or bigger than the entire planet. Now, the thing to know is this is not endangering Earth because we still have a lot of protection, but it just allows more light energy to come in. So it's amplifying the field and also giving us access to other realms and dimensions that we don't normally have. The solar wind pours through these cracks created by the sun's south pole, opposing the Earth's north pointing magnetic field, weakening our planet's magnetic shield. And so, again, there's a 75-year study that shows March is the most geomagnetically active month of the year, and that's followed closely by September and October. So it's a direct result of the equinox time and the equinox cracks that get activated at this time. And so the Earth is really being energized or amped up, I guess is another word we could say that, at the equinox. And this happens with any equinox. So just something to get a sense of how this works. The sun rises due east and due west. And so at the equinox is exactly east and west on your horizon line. If you know where that is, you can notice the sun rising or setting at the east or west point. Then we go from like the March equinox to the June solstice. So summer in the northern hemisphere, winter in the southern hemisphere, the furthest north point, and the sun rising along the horizon here. And then we come back to an equinox, and then we go to the December solstice, where the sun rises at the furthest south point. So, what you're seeing here is also the moon on either side of this, because when the sun can only go so far on the horizon. It never can go past those points. And then the moon can go past those points, and that's referred to as the out of bounds moon, meaning that the moon is outside the boundaries of the sun, outside the boundaries of our everyday reality. And so this is going to come into greater play as we look at what's happening with the last quarter moon at the equinox this year. And it's something that hasn't happened since 2006, and it won't happen again until 2044. So it's pretty exciting. So here's where the sun rises on the galactic cross near the galactic edge at the June solstice. Doesn't matter what season it is for you, northern or southern hemisphere. This is where the sun is at that time. At the September equinox, the sun is between the lion and the priestess, rising at this point along the field. And then the March equinox, it's rising. You can see it's rising in the constellation of the fish, also known as Pisces, but we call it the fish. And then the winter solstice sun is on the galactic cross at the galactic center being here. And we're going to talk a lot about that in a moment, because this is where some of the most amazing things are happening for this equinox. Now, here we have the sun rising due east at the March equinox 2025. It's coming up over the horizon. Now, I did a nighttime view and a daytime view. Saturn's here, the asteroid Ceres. Venus is also hanging out. Mercury's actually below the horizon. We'll see more about that probably in a moment. And so this is you can see along the horizon line, this is the exact east point where the sun is rising. And then it'll be setting in the exact west point. And that means then the sun is tracking across the equator of the Earth for the entire day. For actually, it does it for a good day before and a good day after the exact equinox. So there's a window of time. Now, the March equinox of March 20th of 2025, exact at 2:01 a.m. in Pacific time, 5:01 a.m. in Eastern time, and you can adjust for your time zone for wherever that is, but this is when the sun reaches the zero Aries point, and it's that portal, that activation point, that um, place where the sun is tracking across the planet from east to west all over the planet. Now, it's also a portal, and I've felt this way for a long time, but I'm seeing it even more now that the zero Aries portal, March equinox portal, we could look at it as the alpha and omega, because the zero Aries is the beginning of the seasonal signs. 29 Pisces is the end of the seasonal signs. And the equinox is, in many cultures over time, was considered the New Year's point. And the rising sun is considered the point of the new day. So the equinox is like the sun rising and the balance of day and night. And so much energy is so concentrated at this time. So what's happening this year is Venus, Mercury, Neptune, and Saturn are all four going to pass the zero Aries point 3 times, and this is rare. The last time Venus did what it's doing was back in 1774, doing the exact same thing it's doing. It has crossed the equinox point when it's retrograde more recently. That it is true, but what's happening now, it's something that was happening in 1774. So we have Venus crossing three times. We have Mercury crossing three times. Now, it would have been 46 years ago when Mercury was doing something similar to what it's doing now. So again, these are rare events that are taking place. Neptune is going into Aries for the first time in 165 years on March 30th, and it's crossing the zero Aries point three times, again on October 21st and January 26th in 2026. And in February 13th, 1862, when it entered Aries the last time, it only crossed this point once. And then Saturn is entering the zero Aries point on May 24th, again on September 5th, and again on February 13th. It's crossing that zero Aries point for three passes at the zero Aries point. Now, in 1996, when it entered Aries the last time, it only entered Aries once. So we're seeing this huge amplification of this zero Aries point. It's just amazing to consider that this equinox portal point in the sky is being amplified so many times over the next few weeks at the equinox and then before and after the equinox. It's just amazing. And so the other piece I want to share about is how in um, February 20th of 2026, exactly a month before the next equinox, Saturn and Neptune are meeting at the zero Aries point. Zero Aries 45. You can see that here. The moon isn't too far away. Chiron's in the field, I guess we could say. We have Mercury, we have Pisces, we have the sun in the water bear at 2 degrees Pisces when this conjunction takes place. And also Mars is at 22 Aquarius in the goatfish. So because the seasonal signs have to do with how we experience seasons on the earth, and they move 1 degree every 72 years through the backdrop of the constellations. And so when we can bring in our understanding of the seasons and our signs, the seasonal signs, and our understanding of the constellations, we see how myth and symbol change over time. We see how we are at a time to create new ways of reweaving our understanding of how the constellations and the seasonal signs work together. It's so powerful. It's so exciting. So if we think about this activation of Neptune representing the formless, it's before something comes into form. It's the shapeshifter energy. It is the ability to tap into pure source energy. Uh, Neptune has the ability to do that. And then Saturn is about form. It's about how we've structured our reality and how are we restructuring our reality and how do we want to restructure our reality or create a new reality altogether and let go of the old form. So if we think about Neptune and Saturn doing a very close dance all this year, all of 2025, having their exact conjunction of February of 2025, I mean, February of 2026, February 20th of 2026. Um, the question we can ask is how is the formless finding a new form? How is Neptune and Saturn coming together to help us manifest, dream into, create a new form of how to be on this planet in ways that are beyond anything maybe we've ever imagined, where everyone is respected, everyone is treated with kindness and has their needs met and is able to experience the love and magic of this world when we're living in a good space in a good way with each other. So at least this is what I'm imagining how I want to experience a new form, a new reality, a new way of being is that we would create a world of kindness, a world of love, a world of generosity and respect for one another. So that's my what I'm seeding here in this moment. Okay, so something else about this equinox, and because this is such a powerful seed point for what's coming that we've just talked about, but there's also another factor that is when at the equinox, galactic center is directly overhead as the sun is rising. Now, in the Cognitive Sciences Laboratory in Palo Alto, California, they were studying natural clairvoyant, clairsentient, clairaudient, ESP abilities, and they discovered there was a specific time when galactic center was overhead that consistently increased the accuracy of their test group by 400%. That is so massive. So when galactic centers overhead, no matter what time of day it might be, it supported more efficient use of everyone's psychic talents. Now, researchers at Bell Laboratory accidentally began picking up radio emissions from billions of suns in our galaxy, and it was galactic center overhead and so they were recognizing that there was this energy that was coming down onto the Earth at that time. And again, that over the year, galactic centers overhead at different times of the year. It shifts about 4 minutes earlier each day, but no matter where you are on the planet. And so that means every 23 hours and 56 minutes here on Earth, we have access to cosmic energy field being beamed directly to Earth, but it's going to be at different times of the day throughout the year. And because this is increasing psychic ability, or at least that's what the studies show, then if we're working intentionally with this timing, we could change our reality. Haha, another factor for changing our reality. So, so the March equinox, usually on March 20th, sometimes on the 19th, um, then is access to this doorway of intention and possibilities. And so the sun is the galactic center overhead in Tucson is around 6:18 a.m. Now the sun's going to rise around 6:30. We'll see 6:25, 6:24, but close, it's quite close to the same time as the sun is rising. And it's a time of about a half hour to an hour before and after the galactic center is directly overhead that this field is magnified. And so you can tune in and catch the window. I have given some times for different locations because it will make a difference where you are. And I'll put a link in the show notes to an article that gives even more times, but not more locations, just more times. And then you'd have to adjust for around that time, but it can give you a sense. And it's really within a half hour, pretty much, 45 minutes maybe, to for everybody. And so, so if you're using an hour on either side of your sunrise, you can tap into this energy. And I just love that this is like a shot from galactic center to the Earth. That like this is the energy beaming to the Earth. This is the energy beaming out of the center of the galaxy. It's just so amazing. Now, so what the reason that I'm wanting to focus on this for this equinox, in addition to the fact that we have a total lunar eclipse on March 14th that opens an eclipse cauldron, then we have the equinox and the last quarter moon on March 22nd, and then we have a partial solar eclipse, but it's 93% going to cover the sun, so it's almost total solar eclipse happening on March 29th. So we have this eclipse cauldron that's amplifying the energies at the center point of this eclipse season is the last quarter moon, and it's going to be at on March 22nd, but on March 21st, the moon, and because it's so out of bounds, it's dropped way below the horizon. You can see it here as well. This is when it's directly over galactic center at 7:06 p.m. on March 21st, 2025. And galactic center is around 27 degrees and 12 minutes of Sagittarius. So that's when the moon will be exactly at that point, and it's in a sense occulting the center of the galaxy and transmitting. If we think about the transmission that comes from the center of the galaxy that we've been seeing, the energies are amplified. Now the moon is going to be transmitting and amplifying those energies at this equinox. And as I mentioned before, it was 2006, the last time we had the last quarter moon around the equinox. And it was also out of bounds moon. So, because sometimes the moon would be maybe closer to the ecliptic, it wouldn't necessarily be as going directly over galactic center and transmitting directly from galactic center. Now, this is a sky map over here around the time the sun is rising on March 21st, and you can see the moon is approaching galactic center. And so it's within 7 degrees. So it's going to be about 11 and a half hours before exactly over galactic center. But we could imagine that this energy is being amplified, and definitely some people on the planet will have galactic center overhead with the moon right there at the time that that's happening before the sunrises or a different time of the day. But as the sun is rising way over here in the fish, the moon is way over here between the Scorpion and the Archer, approaching galactic center and the galactic cross, where the Milky Way plane of the galaxy intersects with the plane of the ecliptic or our solar system. And the moon is way below that ecliptic line, getting ready to cross over a galactic center. So, wow, this is just so amazing. And this is from time and date. I'll put the link if you want to find out when the sun is supposed to be rising in your area. You can put in your location and it will tell you. But this is for March 21st at 6:25 a.m. And we have mountains in the east where I live, so it doesn't come up exactly at that time. So you have to adjust for your horizon line, but it gives you a time to kind of get a sense of when that's happening. Now, the out of bounds moon is 28 degrees south, 21 at the time that it is at exactly over galactic center. And this is one of the most furthest out of bounds moons we can possibly have. And in fact, I think it's the day before or the day after, or maybe later that day, it goes even further out of bounds to like 43 minutes instead of 21 minutes. It's all, and that is part of the 19-year lunar standstill, and the moon crossing over the womb of our galaxy, crossing over the center of our galaxy, crossing over this place where all this energy is coming out into the cosmos and especially to the Earth. It is profound, it is amazing, and it is within this equinox window this is happening. So, whoops, I wait a second, go back. Uh, okay. So share my screen again. Okay. Sorry, I hit the wrong button there. Okay, so here's on March 22nd, the last quarter moon. The moon is at 2 Capricorn. It's just the moon has just moved past the 0 Capricorn point where the winter solstice sun rises. Now, the sun won't be here. I just put this here so you could see this is where the sun rises on the galactic cross at the winter solstice or the December solstice. No matter what hemisphere you're in, it has passed galactic center and it has moved into the Archer at this time. So, but it's still in alignment with galactic center, which is so amazing. So it comes into alignment, crosses over the center of the galaxy, and then moves beyond it over these days around the March equinox. And so we're just in this amazing time. It's also at the center point of the eclipse window and all these other factors that are going on with the Venus retrograde, the Mercury retrograde, Neptune and Saturn entering into Aries. It's just massively off the charts. So if you feel inspired, you might want to tune in and utilize the power of the sun at the equinox with galactic center overhead. And so we can energize our intent for a more loving, magical world where everyone and every living thing has all their needs met and are treated with kindness, love, and respect. So this is just an image of what the galactic portal might look like, or the equinox portal might look like. Also some aurora borealis lights coming down to infuse the earth. At the time, in the March time, it happens more often, as already mentioned. So just to keep in mind that when you focus on intentions between 6 and 8 a.m. in the morning during the month of March, you are connecting with the galactic center directly overhead, the galactic center effect that is taking place. And so that can amplify your intentions, that can amplify what it is that you're doing. So we also have the eclipse cauldron and the moon passing over galactic center, surrounding the eclipse, the equinox portal. So this is the most magnified, amplified equinox I have ever witnessed. There have been others that have been pretty amazing, but this is the one that really is capturing the attention of so many astrologers all around the world are definitely tuning into this one. So hopefully you feel inspired by this. Be sure to check out the show notes for additional links to articles and videos on this topic. And if you would like to get notified when a new video goes up, to be sure to subscribe to this channel and click the notification bell for the alerts when a new video gets set up. And with all that, I just want to wish everyone amazing, magical, powerful, transformative, in the best ways possible with ease and grace for all of us to experience this equinox time, this whole month of March 2025 and beyond, as something that is world changing, life changing, personally and collectively changing everything around us.